Hey, what's up everyone? This is Stefan from ProjectLifeMastery.com, and today I'm going to share with you how to detox mercury and lead out of your body. And a lot of what I'm going to share with you guys is based on my own personal experience of having mercury and lead toxicity and still going through the process of detoxing my body, to months of research that I've done online, to meeting and talking with my naturopath, to reading books on the subject. A lot of information that I've gathered that has really opened up my eyes. It's really brought a lot of awareness and attention to this for me, and really empowered me on this journey that I've been on to detox my body. And I needed to record this video to share a lot of what I've learned. I know some people have been asking about this because I did a video a few months ago sharing my test results and the heavy metal toxicity that I have in my body, but I wanted to share the information, what I've learned, the journey thus far, with those that are also on this journey. If you know that you got mercury or lead in your body and are trying to detox it, it's affecting your health, there's a lot of things that I've learned that I want to share with you. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning, I'm still researching, but there's a lot that I have learned that I want to share. But I also want to share for those that have no awareness about this whatsoever. There's a lot of people out there that have mercury, that have lead in their body, but they have no idea, and it's affecting your health. And I'm a big believer in bringing awareness to issues and challenges that people have. I'm a big believer in being proactive with things, with your health, to not leave things till something happens. I think a lot of people don't do anything about their health until it's too late. They get heart disease or cancer or diabetes or whatever, and I think a lot of that can be avoided. A lot of that can be prevented. Now, not all of it. Maybe there's some things that are more genetic and you can't really prevent it. You might do everything right and still get a health challenge that might come up, but I believe in focusing on what you can control. There's certain things that will influence, whether it's your diet or what you put in your body, decisions that you make that will affect your health. And a lot of that's been proven already. You eat junk food, you live a certain lifestyle, then it's just a matter of time. You're bound, your chances of having some serious health challenges go up significantly. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not planning on having that in my life. The stress that you experience of having to go through a cancer, heart disease, diabetes, a serious health problem, for me, I just never want to go through that. I don't want the people that I care about and love to go through that. I just don't want that stress in my life. And a lot of these things that we stress about can be prevented if we're proactive. Again, don't be reactive, be proactive. And I've also always believed that your health is your wealth. I believe in mastery. You got to master all areas of your life. You can't neglect something like your health, because your health is something that is the most important thing. It's what allows you to experience this gift of life. It's something that, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, then you're poor, in my opinion, and you're going to suffer and not have as great of a quality of life that you can really have. So let me share with you guys the journey that I've been on. I'm going to share with you guys how I got into this and how I, discovered this and what I've done this far, and share with you guys some of the safest, most natural ways that I've learned to detox your body from mercury and lead. And I'll also mention too, just full disclaimer, that I'm not a doctor. I don't have any letters after my name or anything like that. This is based on my own personal experience. And of course, talk to doctors, talk to naturopaths, get different opinions and whatnot. I believe what I'm sharing here and throughout really any of my videos should never be taken, you should be taken at face value, but hopefully I can provoke questions in you that you do your own research and due diligence, and you start this process of learning and trying to improve your health for yourself, because everyone's different and there's no universal thing that can work for everyone. You've got to do your own journey, and you got to take your health into your own hands and not just trust one doctor or someone else. Sometimes you got to go with multiple doctors, and a lot of doctors you might find misdiagnose things, they prescribe the wrong thing, and there's a lot of issues that can happen with that too. So you've got to take this seriously, your health, and do what is necessary to make sure that it's the best that it can be, to improve it, to optimize it, to master it. Okay, so I've always been healthy. Again, I'm into mastering my health, a lot of healthy things that I've done. I had no idea whatsoever that I'd have something like this. What kind of sparked this for me was Tony Robbins, who's a mentor of mine, someone I look up to, publicly shared, I think a year or two ago, that he was diagnosed with mercury toxicity, mercury poisoning. And he is also a very healthy individual, and it was a really serious thing that was affecting his health, and still might be. I think he's been a lot better now, but it's been a serious thing for him. And it was so bad that they thought it was like the highest level of mercury poisoning as anyone's ever had in the United States. They thought like his wife was poisoning it or something like that. And it really kind of made me think, hey, you know what? Okay, I should get tested too. Not that I have any reason to believe there's anything wrong with me, but again, I'm not gonna wait till it's too late. I'm gonna be proactive. I think it's worth investing the time, the money, just so that I can be safe, just so I can know for sure. If there's nothing wrong with me, great, awesome, now I know. If there is something, then I wanna know as early as possible so that I can actually do something about it. So I went to my naturopath, and this was a naturopath. I got a friend of mine, is a health person. He has actually had mercury and metals. He's been detoxing as well. But he shared with me the test that he did and the naturopath that he went to. So I also went to that same naturopath. I said, let's do the test. What we did was an IV chelation of using DMPS and EDTA, which is basically they put an IV in your vein, okay? And what they do is they put this drug into your body, and what it does is it pulls the metals and minerals out of your tissues, and then what happens is you collect your urine for the next 12 to 24 hours, different samples of it, and then you send it off to the lab, and basically they can then determine from your urine test your levels of metals in your body and minerals and all this sort of information. Not 100% accurate, of course. Not everything is, but it gives you a good indicator of the metals that are in your body. So I was actually in Australia. I did this before I went to Australia. I live in Vancouver. I was going to Australia, and I got my test results back from my naturopath. And I was shocked to see that I had high levels of mercury, high levels of lead. And many of you guys remember I shared on my YouTube channel a video of me sharing my results pretty openly, pretty transparently, sharing what had occurred, right? So immediately I start researching, and I started thinking, okay, how did I get this, first of all? Like what are the different causes of the mercury in the body and everything? And I wasn't upset or depressed or down. I actually felt empowered. It's kind of a weird thing. And I never really tend to get upset with things like that, because I'm actually very grateful that I discovered this with my health, that this is something that is affecting me. I didn't even know it is affecting me. Everyone might have different symptoms and things that might show up. Might be you get tired or fatigue or whatever, but I felt empowered. I was like, wow, I discovered this is something that I can improve. And I'm especially empowered when I know that there's options, there's choices, there's things that I can do about it. And I'm grateful that I don't have to pay the price at a later point in my life, that I discovered this now, early, young, versus if I didn't know, I didn't have this awareness, I just go on for the next 30 years of my life, and then at that point it might be a serious thing. And like I said, a lot more challenging situation to be able to help myself with. So how did I get it? Many different factors, guys, of different research that I've done. One simple way is that if your parents, your mom, when you're born, if she has mercury in your body, that can be taken on to your body as well. So just that right there alone, you might not have control over that. That could have, that could, for anybody for that matter, could have mercury in their body because of that. Another big factor is from amalgams, which are, mercury fillings in your teeth. So if you've gone to the dentist, you got a mercury filling in your teeth, it's pretty safe to say that you got mercury in your body. Pretty much everyone does if you've had that. I've had one amalgam with mercury in it a number of years ago. I had it for a few years. I actually got it removed 2 years ago before I even knew about any of this stuff, just because I kind of had a little bit of awareness that it probably wasn't the best having that in my mouth. And I actually remember at the time, when I had the cavity, it was just so stupid that they gave me the option of the composite filling versus the amalgam, the mercury, and it was like $20 less to get the mercury. And at the time I didn't have much money. And I ended up, I definitely regret it, because obviously it's affected my health, but I ended up going for that. And I got it removed. And the challenge with this as well, if you have amalgams in your mouth right now, for sure you got to get them removed, okay, without a doubt. But understand that how you get them removed is very, very important and potentially dangerous. And I didn't know this when I got it removed. I actually went to a holistic dentist, which hopefully I think might have done a better job than most dentists, but a lot of dentists out there have no idea how to remove it safely, because when you remove the metal from your mouth, then if you remove it the wrong way, there's vapors that you can inhale of mercury, there's saliva, you can ingest it, it can redistribute throughout your body, and can cause some serious health challenges that make it a lot harder and worse for you. So how you get it removed is very important. There's actually a book that I recommend. I'll link to it. It's by David Hammond. Okay, you can find it on Amazon. It's called Mercury Poisoning, and it's something about how to detox it. But it's a really good book, and it actually has a process in it of how it shares how to remove the amalgam safely and how the dentist should properly do it. So that's one factor. Another factor is from fish. Tuna, swordfish, certain fishes have high levels of mercury. I've had a lot of tuna throughout my life because I love sushi. I live in Vancouver. We got amazing sushi here, so that could be a factor too. As well as a variety of other factors that could affect it. And same thing with lead. Lead could be from lead-based paints, old buildings that you might have lived in might have lead. Certain countries you might have gone to even, like I've been to Cuba and Thailand and around South America and Vietnam and Cambodia and all these different countries that, sometimes you might be ingesting things that, they might not be regulated as maybe other countries in the world might be. So that could be a factor. Even welding, I used to work a lot of construction work and warehouses and whatnot with my family business, and always around welding, which also can inhale lead, I think, from that too. All these different factors that you obviously want to maybe investigate if you have this as a challenge, and I'll try to remove the sources of that as much as possible before you start to detox it. Anyway, so when I was in Australia, I just started doing research. I was like, okay, if you do a Google search, you'll learn things like chlorella and cilantro and apple cider vinegar and, garlic. Certain things can help you detox mercury from your body. So I just started loading up on chlorella and cilantro, all these different things, thinking, okay, I'm detoxing my body now. But as I've gone deeper into this and I've learned more, I actually learned that that was actually the wrong thing to do. I wasn't going about it the right way. And again, there's a certain protocol that's a safe way of going about it. So I got back to Vancouver from Australia, met with my naturopath, went over the results. They gave me the option and what they recommend, which was doing IV chelation, which again was a similar process of putting the IV in your body, pulls out the metals, and then you pee it out. And they gave me that as an option. There are some side effects with that, and I wanted to do more research, and I always try to side on the most natural and safest way possible of doing things, okay? I like to take a more holistic approach to things, and I don't want to take any risks, especially when it comes to my health. So I did a lot of research, and what I actually came across is a protocol by Andy Cutler, or Andrew Cutler, and he actually has a whole protocol that he teaches that thousands of people have done around the world that has been pretty proven and safe and natural way of detoxing your body from mercury and lead. And he actually has a book, I can link to it as well. The book by David Hammond actually teaches the same thing that Andy Cutler teaches in his book, but I've just heard that the David Hammond book is a little bit easier to read. It's a little bit more simple and straightforward than the Andy Cutler book. And there's also Facebook communities I started to discover. I'm part of this one, the Andy Cutler Chelation Facebook group. I could share that too as a link. There's like 30,000 of us that are inside this group. They're all detoxing the mercury, following this protocol too. So a lot of things that I've learned, about this, but I've now that I've discovered this, and I also discovered a website called DMPS Backfire. It's dmpsbackfire.org, where it actually shares a lot of horror stories of people that have done the DMPS route of the IV chelation that it's been really, really bad for. So even though my naturopath was well intended, and a lot of doctors might be as well, sometimes they don't know things as much. They don't know all the options. And I felt like the more research that I did and learned about this, I ended up learning a lot more than my naturopath. And now I've gone to him and I've started to share with him what I've learned, and we've kind of gone down this more natural approach for me that I think is a lot safer. Because the challenge with doing the IV chelation, even the test I shouldn't have done. I didn't know at the time that there's risks of doing that test, or that, because what happens is when you do the DMPS EDTA chelation, what happens is you're pulling all these metals, and it's a lot for your body to handle. And if it's a little bit of a too much of an aggressive approach, that a lot of these metals can get redistributed in your body, and it can also go into your brain, which is where you do not want it to go, and it can cause a lot of complications, and that's why a lot of people have a really bad health side effects and whatnot from it. So here's what I'd say. Here's what I've learned thus far. And again, do your own research on this, but this is what I've learned that I can share with you guys. The safest way of getting tested is doing a hair test, okay, hair analysis. There's a website I can link to that you could do. I think they can send you a test. You could do it that way and send it off to the lab. Inside Facebook groups and stuff that I'm a part of, people can help you interpret the test results, or you can go to a naturopath and they can order it through them, and then they can, you can work with that person. They can interpret the results and tell you based on that. I tend to like working with naturopaths because they can help you understand things a lot better. You might have to look around in your area and find a good one that has some experience and knowledge about metals, and holistic approaches to it. But that's what I've learned is the safer way of going about it. It might not be as accurate. And by the way, even the IV chelation apparently isn't as accurate. Like, nothing is, again, perfectly accurate, but it's a provoked test. So oftentimes people might have a lot more metals. It might show it's a little bit more serious than what it really is, based on my understanding of it too. Okay, anyways, so the Andy Cutler method, another way that you can test is by even just doing this method that he has, this protocol, and you'll know based on doing it whether or not you have mercury based on the symptoms or the side effects you might have. So for example, once you start this process, if you feel tired, if you feel you're a little bit sick or low energy or can't sleep as well, then that's kind of a sign that your body's detoxing the metals in your body and that you actually have metals too. So that's another way that you can kind of tell, based on doing maybe a few rounds of whether or not you have metals too. Okay, and so what is the protocol? What is the way to detox the lead? And again, a long-winded video. I just want to give you guys the background, the story, a lot of information, details I'm trying to provide for you guys. So with the Andy Cutler protocol, it's based on using alpha lipoic acid, so ALA, in conjunction with something like DMSA or DMPS, but in an oral form. So when you do it through the IV, it's going right into the blood, and it's a little bit too aggressive. But if you do oral form, then it's a little bit safer, and especially starting, what they recommend is at a very, very low dose. And the one thing I'll mention too is that the DMPS apparently does not work to detox lead, whereas the DMSA does lead and mercury, okay? But here's what they recommend. So you start off doing a round, which usually lasts a minimum of 3 days, okay? Can last up to a few weeks. And with the round, you're gonna start off with 12.5 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid, okay? And there is certain types of alpha lipoic acid, so you're gonna take the right one. I don't remember that off by heart, but I can maybe reference that, or it's in the book that I recommend. So you start off with 12.5 milligrams, which, by the way, is a very small amount. Most capsules that you might find of alpha lipoic acid are like 100 milligram capsules. So what you actually have to do is you actually have to divide the dose. There's a website you can get actually the capsules in lower dose, like 12.5 milligrams, 25 milligrams. But what I do is I open up the capsule and I divide it into eighths. It's divided into 1/8, and then I basically have capsules based on that. So we take alpha lipoic acid as well as DMSA at 12.5 milligrams as well, and you do that every 3 hours, okay? And every 3 hours, including while you sleep, okay? So when you are going to bed at night, you actually have to wake up in the middle of the night and take your dose of ALA and DMSA while you're sleeping. They say when you sleep you can do it every 4 hours, but the reason why you got to do it every 3 hours or 4 is that it only has a half-life of about 3 hours in your body. And so what happens, it's actually very dangerous if you don't follow this protocol properly and you don't do the doses, because again, what could happen is that the metals and the mercury can redistribute through your body, go into your brain, and again, it can be very, very dangerous. So you have to follow it exactly. You got to commit to it exactly what they say and what they've proven inside this program. So every 3 hours you take it. Again, the minimum round is 3 days, okay? and you start off again a low dose, and you see how your body reacts. Are you tired? Do you feel not well? Do you know, your focus not as good? Are you getting a little bit sick? Can't sleep as good? Do you have anxiety that comes up? All these things that can come up that mercury and the metals can affect. After you've done it for one round, you take the same amount of time that round was, you take off. So if you did 3 days, then you're gonna take 3 days off after that to give your body a rest. Okay, if you've done a week, then after that you take a week off to give your body, your body a rest. Then you go back into it. Now you can do the same dose based on how you felt. If you felt tired, symptoms, you might want to keep it the same before you up the dose. But if you're kind of used to that after maybe 1 or 2 rounds, or you didn't maybe notice that much, then you do another round at a higher dose. So now you might go up to 25 milligrams. Okay, and again, you're going to see how you feel, and eventually you just keep upping the dose. I don't know if there's a max you can go to. You know, I know some people they go up to 80 milligrams or so, 50 to 80 milligrams, and you know, that's kind of the rounds that they do. So you kind of play with it a little bit. You start off safe, small. Again, the goal is not to be too aggressive with it, not to cause issues, you know, stirring up the mercury in your body too much, but it's to slowly go about it in the most safe, most natural way possible for you. So that's what they teach, that's what they recommend, that's what I've been doing, that's what I've determined to be one of the safest ways. Cilantro and Chlorella and some of those things are not recommended in this program. There's a lot of debates and issues with it. One is that cilantro is a binder of metals, and so what can actually happen is when you put it in, like the cilantro that's grown in the earth can actually bind metals in the earth to it, so you could actually be putting more mercury into your body just by ingesting the cilantro. And you know, there's a number of other reasons of why they explain it's not the best way of doing it. The other factor too is, you know, people want to know how long does it take to detox this, and it is a long process. I'm going to warn you. What they say in the book is that it can take 1 to 2 years, even if you just have mild levels of mercury, and it could take 4 or more years if you have more severe levels. So that's kind of how severe it is, and it's a long-term journey, unfortunately. But you know, I always think long-term when it comes to these things, and what other option or choice do you have? I mean, for me, it's a sacrifice. It's a price you got to pay. You get used to it by doing it. But if it means that you're going to be healthier, you're going to have more energy, you're going to be happier, it's going to alleviate some of these issues that you might be facing and have, or might not even be aware of that you have, then in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. So that's the protocol, what they recommend. And just to kind of clarify too, what the ALA does is it pulls the metals out of your tissues. And the great thing about ALA that a lot of the other binders don't do is that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So basically it's able to pull out the mercury out of your brain. And it can even be stored in your bones and other parts of your body too. So it pulls it out. The DMSA is kind of like, it sweeps it out of your body, kind of, you know, pulls it into the blood. And then the DMSA helps to sweep it out, and then you eliminate it through your bowels, you eliminate it through your urinary tract, and also through sweating and perspiration as well. So I actually do a lot of saunas. I do saunas almost every night. There's a sauna in the building that I live in here, so I go down there and I sweat it out for maybe 30 minutes at a time, and there's a lot of good benefits. That's a good way to eliminate the toxins, the mercury, the lead from your body also, okay? So that's it. That's the process. That's what I've learned with you guys. And I've been doing a few rounds now, and I've been feeling a little bit better as I go. The book, the information you gather on this will be more of an eye-opener for you, because they share a lot of stories. And, you know, for me, it just made me realize how important this really is. The more that I dug into it, and how serious it is. And it really motivated me to really do what I can to cleanse my body in the best way possible. So I want to link to those resources for you guys. I'll link below this video on YouTube, but I'll also have a blog post. So if you go to projectlifemastery.com, there'll be a blog post there. You might have to search for it depending on when you're watching this video, but if you do a search there on the blog, you'll find it, and then I'll link to the different things that I've mentioned, the books, supplements, etc., the websites, for you guys to investigate and learn. And, you know, I don't know if this video is for everyone. I think if it can help 1 or 2 or even 3 people, it doesn't matter how many, but for me, that's a win. You know, if this, what I've learned can help others, as it's helped me to this point, and save you time and maybe some stress and challenges in your future, then that's my goal of what I'm trying to accomplish, to be able to help you with your health and be able to take it to a whole new level. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. If you have any additional resources or anything worth sharing, leave a comment below. I'm always, like I said, researching and learning, and I'm on this journey, but I just want to be transparent with you guys and share the journey that I've been on. And I wish you guys the best of luck with your health. God bless.